What's up, DFS Army? Cash Cake coming at you here. Gonna talk a little NBA first look. Tomorrow, playoff start, man. Excited. So excited to have the playoffs here. No more guessing these rotations the last week or so. It's finally here, man. So the next, 45 days, we're going to have basketball about every day. High quality basketball. Teams trying to win here in the bubble. No home court advantage. So it could be interesting. I think those second unit guys that might struggle on the road could do a little better here. So again, over here, DFS Army. If you're not a part of DFS Army, head on over. Join us. Cheat sheets are going to be up tonight. Projections will be up tonight. Got a 1:30 p.m. lock. So on these playoff games, we're going to have basically like Christmas Day slates. One game at a time, so you can really enjoy them, but it does spread it out. 1:30 lock. The last game locks at 9 p.m. So what's up over the top? Appreciate the sub, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. DFS Skills. What's up, man? It's gonna be a good one, man. I really like this slate. We got some news here. We're just gonna go game by game. I'll try to bounce back between FanDuel and DraftKings, but FanDuel's a little bit easier to go positions. But we'll talk about both of them. Just kind of go game by game. Maybe some guys to look at, and then again in chat tomorrow. And the cheat sheets will finalize everything. But just kind of a quick first look. So let's head on over and give these games a look real quick. Uh-oh. Am I frozen? Am I still frozen over the top? Nope, I'm good? Okay. Just want to make sure, man. I'm good? Okay. All right. Let's look at this first game here. Utah at Denver. It's a 215.5 over-under. So these over-unders, I was looking at all four of them. We're not seeing these massive 230s. The last game of the night we are, which is expected with Dallas and the Clippers. But two slower teams here with Utah and Denver. The big news here for injuries, Mike Conley's out and he's just left the bubble, going back to Ohio, birth of his son. So we're gonna have no Mike Conley here, so probably miss first couple games here. So that brings in Utah here. I talked about a few prop bets I like because of Conley being out, so check on that video. I just dropped that about an hour ago. But with no Conley, man, Jordan Clarkson is going to be super popular, man. Super popular. He is 4,400 on FanDuel. Joe Ingles, 5,000. Like him a lot. They're going to see massive minutes. We could see Ingles putting up 36, 37 minutes here easily at 5K. Love him. He's the second usage on the team behind Mitchell. Mitchell's too cheap at 7,300. They are going up against Denver. Denver does have some injuries themselves. Will Barton is still out. Gary Harris is still out, but they still have plenty of firepower there. Michael Porter Jr. in the bubble has been one that has been really excelling. We've been talking about it, I think, all season. Malone never lets this guy play, and he's a freak. He's an elite talent. He just needs time. He does slack a little bit on the defensive side, but they have enough defensive prowess on that team. I still think we'll see Torrey Craig. He'll probably cover Mitchell. He's their best defender there in the starting five. So I think that's going to open up some more shots here for, starting for Conley. We might see Emmanuel Mudiay. He has a game time decision with his knee, but I think he plays. If not, man, we're going to see all the Clarkson here. But if Mudiay plays at 3,700, I don't think he closes out the half. I don't think he closes out the game. But that doesn't mean he doesn't start and throw in 28, 30 minutes. If we don't see him, they're going to have to find somebody at guard, man. And when we look at a Rajon Tucker, it's really slim pickings for him. Right, Foreman, Oni, I think he plays though. And again, but the guys you're going to be targeted on this side of the ball, Rudy Gobert 7,600 is cheap. Not overly excited about him going up against Jokic. Jokic likes to spread the court a little bit, but 7,600. I think there's a lot of ways to go here. I'd rather pay up for Jokic on the other side. I think he is like 11 or 1,200 more. But again, Donovan Mitchell, Ingles, Clarkson, Royce O'Neal. I don't mind paying 4,500 for him. He's going to be playing massive minutes too. We could see 35, 36 out of him at that price. I don't mind. He's always, never owned high enough for his upside. And there's been games where he's put up 25, 30 fantasy points, against Denver right there. He put up 39 minutes on August 8th, 30 fantasy points, 6 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 steals. The blocks and steals, that's kind of part of his game, and those add up on FanDuel a ton. So really like that. But Clarkson's going to be your guy that's going to be massively owned. Shooting guard is loaded like usual on this slate. When when you got Luka Doncic and they moved Paul George to shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell on the same team, Clarkson. So, but that is extremely cheap. But Ingles is a small forward position that's usually pretty weak, kind of like that. So those are the guys I'm looking at. Again, even if Moutier starts, I can't get too excited about him. But if we're looking for value at the point guard position, he's probably where it's at. Let's head on over to the Nuggets side. Jokic, 8,600 on FanDuel. Got to love that. I'm not worried about Rudy Gobert. Jokic can put up monster numbers against anybody. Actually, against Utah on August 8th, here in the bubble, in 41 minutes, he put up 30, 11, and 7 on him with 3 steals for 58 FanDuel points. So no problem playing Jokic here. Again, without Barton and Harris. Jamal Murray is back, though, and Jokic put up that game without Murray, so it does take a little bit away from him. But Jamal Murray at 6,100 is squarely in play. Michael Porter at 6,800 here is an interesting one, just because I never know what Malone's going to do. And we should see big minutes out of Porter Jr. here. I mean, we should see 30 to 33 minutes. I think Jeremy Grant might move in the starting lineup and start on the 3. They could. So, or do we put Michael Porter Jr. at the 3 and start, Millsap at the 4? They got a lot of ways they can go. I still think Grant's going to see big minutes. Jeremy Grant 4,800, Millsap at 4,300. Those guys are squarely in play. Torrey Craig at 3,700 shooting guard isn't a no play for me. I just don't want to touch a guy like that. That there's way bigger upside, like on the other side of the ball with Clarkson. There's no reason to go to a guy like him. So don't really want that. Plethora of guys, though, Grant and Millsap and Porter, all squarely in play. Millsap's the one guy that's hard. It's the playoffs, so he's definitely in play, but I always worry about his upside, and especially if they start maybe Porter at the 3 and Millsap at the 4. I think it's going to hurt him because Porter likes to shoot. But you got to take all these guys into account with them down a few bodies here. But if I was playing Grant, I wouldn't play Millsap and vice versa. No interest in the playoffs down here for Monte Morris. He's going to see low 20s in minutes. Sure, could he get it done? Maybe he's a pivot off of the Chalk or Moutier if he starts. But none of these guys. In the playoffs, these starters are going to see big minutes. Denver's one team that can go kind of deep, but I would stick to Jokic, Murray, Porter, and then sprinkle in some Grant and Millsap. Let's go to the next game. Brooklyn at Toronto. This is a 222 over-under. Line opened up at 10.5. Toronto favorites. It's down to minus 9.5. So Brooklyn's look good in the bubble, man. They've been playing heavy minutes. Even when Milwaukee there a couple games ago, they were like 17-point dogs or something and ended up winning that game. They're playing really hard, but they're kind of come to a buzzsaw here against Toronto. I have a feeling. Let's first start on the Nets side of the ball. Nets, Dante Hall's active. Don't really care about that. Chioza's active. Don't care. Jamal Crawford is out. Here to hammy in that first game back. Nothing really changes with those injuries, so I'm not too excited there. You're basically getting all of your scoring from 3 guys on this team. Karis LeVert, 8,300. It's going to be hard for him to pay off that salary, even though his usage is massive. 8,300. I think there's other ways I would go here. Again, it's a tough matchup against Toronto, but the guy has looked unbelievable. I'll still have some in MME, but he's definitely not a cash play for me. Jared Allen at 7,200 could be interesting here against Toronto, but again, we should see some more minutes out of Gasol. But in the playoffs here, we're going to see 33, 34 minutes out of LeVert, Harris, Allen. Those are the guys that I'm looking for. Again, all of them will play. Harris is too cheap at 4,800. If they try to stop LeVert, then the majority of the looks are going to go to Joe Harris. So I do like him at small forward. Like I said, small forward is kind of a dumpster fire. So he is a play I would look at. I think the one sneaky play here, I think a lot of people might look at Garrett Temple because he's 3,800, probably sees 30, 32 minutes. But the guy I want to play, man, is Luau Cabaret. TLC, man. 4K. He's a shooter coming off the bench. It's kind of like a Clarkson. Look at him that way. And we saw some big you can see the confidence building in this kid. So I really like TLC as a GPP play at 4K. I don't even mind some Tyler Johnson at 4K here at FanDuel over at point guard. But no interest in any of these other guys. It's the top guys here, LeVert, Allen, Harris. Harris is probably my favorite, followed by probably TLC. And again, LeVert is priced up. GPP exposure for sure, but on this slate against Toronto's defense, it's pretty difficult. Let's see what else we got going on here. Any other questions so far? Anybody got anything you want to talk about? Yes, no, maybe so. Hopefully I'm still not frozen. DF Skill says I'm not, so I'm going to keep going. Raptors side of the ball. What injuries do we have for the Raptors? I think we're good. I think they're all healthy here. They're all cheap. Not frozen. Good to go. All right. Sweet. Let's keep going. Toronto side of the ball. These guys are all cheap. Fred VanVleet, 7K. Kyle Lowry, 7,300. Pascal Siakam, 7,400. Siakam has been underwhelming going into the bubble here. Struggled a bit at times. I think it's the Fred VanVleet and the Lowry show here. I don't expect, that they'll need Siakam in this matchup, but you got it, again, at a weak position. He's going to play massive minutes. It's the playoffs. All these guys. Fred VanVleet, 7K is so cheap. Against Brooklyn, just load up all these guys. Lowry, VanVleet, Siakam, no problem here. Don't be playing Chris Boucher here. Don't be playing unless you think it's a route and he's going to get run. Don't play. This is not how it was last week. So, no Chris Boucher here. Norman Powell at 5K here at shooting guard. I think there's better options to go. He's going to see, 26, 28 minutes, but I don't think they're going to be the ceiling there when there's other guys at shooting guard that are going to get you there. So I'm not too excited about him. It's the playoffs. Marc Gasol is probably going to play some time here. He's probably going to see 26, 28 minutes. But they can run Siakam down at the 5, so they don't really have to go a ton of minutes for Gasol. And they can run Ibaka down at the 5 as well at 5,800. We know bigs against Brooklyn's a thing. If you want to take a chance at that, not a big deal. No problem going there. I have a hard time playing him in a game like this. But again, you can put up some big numbers against these guys. So we got to see the starting lineup that they roll out here, but those are the two guys I look at. OG, I really don't like playing OG at 4,300 unless one of these guys are out. So I'm not going to be big on OG myself. I think I'm going to stick to the VanVleets. Lowry is my two highest owned guys on this team. And then, I'll throw in some Ibaka and Siakam and a little bit of Gasol. I don't think I'll touch Powell or OG too much. So, and again, all these guys below here that were a thing over the last week, they are not any longer. It is the playoffs. Let's head to the third game. Philly at Boston, in Florida, in the bubble. I don't know. 218.5. Boston favored by -5.5. The line opened at -4, so we're almost up 1.5 for Boston, which is understandable because Philly has looked like a trash can, a dumpster fire. The one news we got on Philly, Glenn Robinson is out. He's been be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. He gets an oblique strain or something like that. But they'll have a short rotation here. We'll probably see more cork mods, but let's just start on the Philly side of the ball while we're at it. Gave a prop bet that I liked for Tobias Harris. If you check that video out, Tobias Harris 7,100, too damn cheap. And Embiid has looked like a complete dumpster fire. Doesn't look like he gives a damn. Doesn't look like he wants to be there. Not a fan. Not a fan of Joel Embiid. But 8,500. When you got Jokic at 100 more, I'd rather take Jokic. I'm not a fan of Embiid. I don't know. Something about that dude right now. So, Tobias Harris. Love Tobias Harris. Love him. He seems like the one that's engaged, ready to go, ready to score, get things done. Just too cheap for him. Al Horford at 5,300. It's hard to play him when he's alongside Embiid, but he'll be in the player pool, but not a cash piece for me. Josh Richardson at 4,800. Milton at 4,200. Not guys I love. Tobias Harris is the guy for me here. Alec Burks at 3,900. Again, shooting guard. There's a lot of guys you can spend up for, but there's a lot of cheap guys as well. So really like Alec Burks off the bench. He gives him a spark, kind of like Clarkson does for Utah. So 3,900 is a fantastic price for him. And we'll probably see a little bit more cork mods with Glenn Robinson third out, but not overly excited about a lot of these guys on the Philly side besides Tobias Harris and Burks. Those are the two guys I'm focusing on. I might do a complete Embiid fade in 150 lineups tomorrow and just put all that exposure on Jokic. I haven't decided, but I just something about that guy right now. On the Boston side of the ball, it's like, which Boston guy is going to go off this game? It's tough because any one of them could go off. The minutes that they see, Tatum 8,300, no problem playing him. Brown at 6,200, Gordon Hayward at 6,100. I wouldn't play these guys together. I would make a rule to play one or the other. Over the top, going back to Denver real quick question. He asked, do you like Plum Dog? I don't think we need Plum Dog on this. I really don't. So, no Plum Dog for me. Back to Boston, Brown and Hayward. Again, I think you can play either one of them. I think both of them are going to give you 35, 36 minutes. I really think you can play either one of them. And they're both small forward. So, again, I don't think I'd play both of them together. I don't think they both have ceiling games. But I don't mind playing either one of them. They're both squarely in play. $6K for Kemba Walker. FanDuel here. His minutes are going to creep up, man. We might see, this game stays close, we might see mid-30s here. And that's just too cheap for Kemba Walker. You know, he's not going to see Ben Simmons or any of that kind of defense. So I have no problem playing Kemba Walker here. This is not the same team with Simmons off the court. So, roll them out there, no problem. Daniel Theis, I don't really need to go there. 5,300, don't really love it. And that's about it. I mean, again, playoffs, you're going to have way shorter rotations. Guys are going to play a lot more minutes. Marcus Smart at 5,600. I really am never excited to play him unless some guys are out. You should see low 30s minutes. There's just guys with bigger upside, and I don't think I need that. If they're sloppy, though, he gets a lot of steals. Maybe 150, I'd have a sprinkle, but not too excited. I think I'm more looking at the small forwards and Brown and Hayward, and then if I can fit in Tatum. But I think I'm going to look at Porzingis, though, and I might do the Tatum fade and play Porzingis here on FanDuel just to jump over on ownership because he's going to grab a bunch. I'm not saying Tatum's a bad play at all. You know, he can throw up 50, 60 at any point in time. I just don't know if they're going to need it here. But top 4 guys all squarely in play, and that's where I'll basically be sitting at. Let's head on over to the nightcap game. Starts at 9 p.m. Eastern time. This one's actually got a decent over-under. We're sitting at 230 over-under. Clippers favored by 6. It did open up at 5, so lines moved 1 point. We'll start on the Clippers side, and this one's a little bit interesting here for the Clippers because we do have some injury news with them. We do have Montrezl Harrell should be cleared for tomorrow's game, but he hasn't played a game in the entire bubble. He's been out, grieving family members. So I don't know how many minutes they're going to give him. You know, he should play. He's 5,800 at center. You know, with Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell in that second unit, they can dominate. I just worry about how many minutes he's actually going to see. So that might take him out of play for me until he's got his legs underneath him. So still a cheap price. I don't think I'll go there, but definitely squarely in play if you think he's going to get minutes. Pat Beverly, Landry Shamet, they're both questionable, but I would say lean them more on the doubtful side. So if Pat Beverly is not going to play, we could see some more Reggie Jackson, 3,800. It's a great price on him. Again, this matchup's got the highest over-under. Luka's going to have to be scoring a ton, so no problem playing some Reggie Jackson, 3,800 if Pat Bev is out. Kawhi Leonard, 9,300. Paul George at 8,100. Again, Paul George is a shooting guard. I don't know. Lou Williams at 5,300. I would rather go there because I think you can get a 30 spot with upside with Sweet Lou. So, and again, if Harrell plays, it's going to cut into some of the minutes of Zubac, and he's been playing really good ball lately. But if Harrell comes in, it's going to take that a little bit away. But Zubac is still 5,100. They're going to need his size against Dallas. So I'm kind of torn with him. I'll when I do my cheat sheet, I'll have a better feel on him tomorrow. But I need to figure out some more news and see what Doc's going to say about Harrell and if he's going to be on a minutes limit or what his plan is for him. So that depends on how much Zubac I'll have. But for me, it's Reggie Jackson, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Sweet Lou. And Sweet Lou is probably my favorite out of the bunch just for price. But again, playoffs, short rotation here. Lou Williams is going to see 30 minutes of Lou Williams at 5,300. That's why it's so hard at shooting guard to pay up for guys like Paul George at 8,100 or LeVert at 8,300. When you have all this great value that's going to play a ton of minutes that have a ton of upside. Lou Williams has 40-point upside at 30 minutes. Clarkson at 4,400 on FanDuel has 30, 40-point upside at cheap. So, we haven't even got to the Dallas side, though. And if you're going to spend up, am I going to go 8,100 for Paul George? Or am I going to pay 10-2 for Luka? And they're going to need Luka. Luka's going to play a ton of minutes. So if, Luka could see 38, 40 minutes here. If they're going to win this series, it's on the back of Zingis and Luka. Those guys are going to have to put up monster games each and every night. Yes, Seth Curry can get hot at point guard at 4K. I would have a little bit of him because if he gets hot, Carlisle will leave him in, and he's going to see 30, 32 minutes here. And at 4K, that's too cheap, and I don't think he'll be owned enough. Trey Burke, 3,700. I don't think he's going to see enough minutes. I would rather go to Seth Curry in the playoffs again. If this dude gets hot, he can break the slate. So over the top says, I like Zubac. Yeah, man, I do too. Just Harrell being back just throws another wrench into it. If if Harrell is out, I love Zubac. But if he's in, it it's hard to guess those minutes that they're going to play between them. Another guy that's usually really low owned that has upside. It's a tough matchup though. Is DFS here? Dorian Finney-Smith, 4,100 is pretty cheap, so I would take a few flyers on him. Don't play Boban. This is not a Boban game. Boban probably plays 3 to 5 minutes, if that. They're going to roll out their starters a ton. Tim Hardaway Jr., 5,500. It's small forward. He's going to play big minutes as well, but it's basically going to be the Luka and Kristaps game here. And again, like I was talking about earlier with Tatum at 8,100 or 8,200 at FanDuel at power forward, I will just pay up to Porzingis here at 8,600 and just get over that way. And I mean, you could play both of them, but I'll have way more Porzingis than I will Tatum. But that's kind of it, man. I mean, that's a quick rundown. We will get those cheat sheets out. Again, if you're not a member of DFS Army, head on over, sign up, use promo code CashCake, save yourself 20%. We are going to smash these playoffs, man. Good luck to DFS Army member Kanto PV. He has a DraftKings final tomorrow that stretches 2 games, which is odd. It stretches, 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. So good luck to him. I hope he takes it down for the Army. Really hope we see some takedowns. I'm going to be in the FanDuel $3.33. I think that's where I'm going to be focused on tomorrow. DraftKings does have a big tournament, $20 entry, $150K up top. But I'm liking these lotto tick contest that FanDuel is offering. $100K up top. You can max it for about $500 instead of spending about $3K over at DraftKings. Even though I love DraftKings more, I like this price point to go after the playoffs. So with that, appreciate you guys. Hope you guys got something out of this. And I will see you later. Deuces.